Hello everyone, this is Gunasundari of IT department at GTN Arts College, Tendakal. Today's topic is database management system concepts. In that, we are going to see the entity relationship model. In this slide, we can cover the topics such as entity set, relationship set, design issues, mapping cardinalities, keys, etc. Entity set. A database can be modeled as a collection of entities, relationship among entities. An entity is an object that exists and is distinguishable from other objects. Entities have attributes. For example, a specific person, company, and event that can be described as an entity. And the attributes are the people whose name, address, and the phone numbers are called as attributes. An entity set is a set of entities of same type that shares the same properties. For example, set of all persons, companies, trees, holidays, etc. Here are the two tables, customer and the loan table. Customer and loan are called as the entity and the attributes are customer ID, customer name, customer street, customer city, and the loan number and amount. An entity is represented by set of attributes, that is, descriptive properties possessed by all members of an entity set. Example, customer, which contains the attributes as customer ID, customer name, customer street, customer city, and the loan has an attribute such as loan number and amount. Here, the customer and the loan are called as entities. Domain. What is a domain? A set of permitted values of each attribute. What are the permitted values? Means the row of values is called as the permitted values, and the attribute types. What is mean by an attribute type? The attribute type may be simple and composite attribute, single valued and multi-valued attribute, derived attributes. What is a composite attribute? The composite attribute is name of the person contains the first name, middle name, and the last name. In this situation, the first name, middle name, and the last name is called as the composite attributes. Single valued and multi-valued attributes. For example, we can take the phone number. The phone number can be multi-valued. A single person may contain one or more phone numbers. Derived attributes. What is a derived attribute? The age can be a derived attribute. The date of birth, the age can be identified. Hence, it's a derived attribute. Here is the diagrammatical representation of composite attributes. Here, as I explained before, the name contains the first name, middle name, and the last name. The address contains the street, city, state, postal code. Again, the street is subdivided into street number, street name, apartment number. Here, the street number, street name, and apartment number is a component attribute. Then we can move to the next slide. Is relationship set. Relationship is an association among several entities. A relationship set is a mathematical relation among n greater than or equal to 2 entities, such taken from entity sets. In this relationship set, it is clearly shown that we have a customer and the loan. In this, the customer entity and the account entity has the depositor, the access date, as the relationship set. The relationship set borrower. In this table, the customer and the loan table is clearly shown. The customer table contains the 4 attributes values and the loan has 2 attribute values. Relationship sets. An attribute can be property of the relationship set. For instance, the depositor relationship set between entity set customer and account may have the attribute access date. Here, by means of the depositor access date, the customer and account table are connected by means of one-to-one relationship and one-to-many relationship and many-to-one relationship. Mapping cardinalities. Express the number of entities to which another entity can be associated with through a relationship set. These are the 4 types of mapping cardinalities: one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, and many-to-many. Here is A and B or the entity set contains the attributes of A1, A2, A3, A4 and B1, B2, B3, B4. In the picture A, there is a one-to-one relationship, because why we are saying this is a one-to-one relationship? A1 is directly connected to B1. In this picture B, the A1 is connected to 2 or more attributes B1 and B2, that is one to many attributes. Hence the relation is one to many. In this picture A, many to one relationship is shown clearly. A1 and A2 are the 2 attributes connected to the single attribute of the entity set B, that is B1. In this picture B, A1 is connected to B1 and A2 is connected to B1 and A1 is also connected to B2. That is many to many. We can see one by one by this example shown here. Mapping cardinalities affect the ER diagram. Can make access date an attribute of account instead of relationship attributes if each account can have only one customer. That is, the relationship from account to customer is many to one, or equivalent customer to account is one to many. Here the Johnson is the customer name who is connected with an account number and access date of too many datas. Here is the representation of ER diagram. The above ER diagram contains the customer and the loan, and the borrower is the relationship set. In this, the rectangle represents the entity set. Diamond represents the relationship set. The lines link the attributes to entity set and entity set to the relationship set. Ellipse represents the attributes. The attributes are customer ID, customer name, customer street and customer city. What is a double D ellipse? Represents a multivalued attribute and dashed ellipse denoted the derived attributes. These two we can see in the next slide. The underlined indicates the primary key of the attribute. Here the customer ID is the primary key. Primary key is nothing but it is used to identify the each row of table. By means of the customer ID, I can fetch the data of a single row of a table. As I explained before, here the customer ID, phone number, date of birth, age. We focus on these things. Customer ID is underlined, that is primary key. Here phone number is doubled ellipse, that is multi-valued attributes. Here the age is the dashed ellipse, that is derived from the date of birth. Hence it is called derived attributes. Relationship set with attributes. This is the year diagram shown for the customer and the account table. Here customer ID and account number are the primary keys. The deposit table contains the access date and the customer and the account can be connected by means of the relationship depositor can be accessed by the access date. Roles. What is a role? Entity set of a relationship need not be distinct. The label, manager and workers are called roles. They specify how employee entity interact through the works for relationship set. The role of labels are optional and are used to clarify semantics of the relationship set. Next one is the cardinality constraints. We express the cardinality constraints by drawing either a directed line signifying that is 1, an undirected line signifying many between the relationship set and the entity set. For example, one-to-one relationship. A customer is associated with at most one loan through the relationship borrower. A loan is associated with at most one customer by means of the borrower. Next, we are going to see about the one-to-many relationship. In the one-to-many relationship, a loan is associated with at most one customer through a borrower. A customer is associated with several loans through a borrower. The diagrammatic representation indicating that a line of directed line from the borrower to the customer is clearly shown, and the borrower and the loan is connected by the undirected line. Next one is the many-to-one relationship. In a many-to-one relationship, a loan is associated with several customers through a borrower. A customer is associated with most one loan through a borrower. Here the borrower is directed line is connected to the loan and the customer to the borrower is connected by means of undirected line. That is clearly shown in the diagram. Many-to-many relationship. A customer is associated with several loans through a borrower. A loan is associated with several customers through borrower. Here from the borrower, the customer and the loans are connected by means of undirected line. Next, we are going to say about keys. The most interesting topic is keys. How the keys are utilized in this entity table. First, we are going to see about a super key. Superkey of an entity set is a set of one or more attributes whose values uniquely determines each entity. For example, a super key, a register number of a person and the department can be a super key. A candidate key of an entity set is minimal super key. Customer ID is a candidate key of the customer and the account number is a candidate key of the account. For example, if we wish to track all access data to each account by means of a customer, we can assume a relationship for each access. In this equation, we can use the multi-valued attributes. Here, the customer ID and the account number is a super key of the depositor. The combination of the primary key of participating entity set forms a super key of the relationship set. Next, we are going to see about the weak entity set. An entity set that does not have a primary key is referred to as a weak entity set. As I explained before, primary key is a unique key which is used to identify the row of data. Here, the entity set that does not have the primary key is referred to as a weak entity set. The existence of a weak entity set depends on the existence of identifying entity set. It must relate to the identifying entity set through a total one-to-many relationship set from identifying to the weak entity set. The relationship set, identifying the relationship depicts using a double diamond. Hence, the weak entity set is identified by the double diamond shape. In this diagram, it is clearly shown the double diamond, which is the loan payment. We depict a weak entity set by double rectangles. We underline the discriminator of the entity set with a dashed line, which depends on the loan number. The primary key of the payment is loan number and payment number. The primary key of the strong entity set is not explicitly stored with the weak entity set, since it is implicit in identifying the relationship. If the loan number were explicitly stored, the payment could be made a strong entity set, but then the relationship between the payment and a loan would be duplicated by implicit relationship defined by the attribute loan number common to the payment and loan. For example, an university is offering a course is a strong entity and the course offering a model is a weak entity. The discriminator of the course offering would be the semester of all the indicating with the year and the section number if it is divided into different sections. For example, if we model course offering as a strong entity, we would model course number as an attribute. Then the relationship with course would be implicit in the course number attribute, course number attribute. Hope you all very clear about the concepts. Thank you.